The sound of tiny diesel trains chugging through the forest was a familiar sight to residents of the Ida Bay and Loon River areas. As such, it came as a shock to them when in 2018 these trains stopped and the railway fell into disrepair. The Ida Bay Railway, the southernmost railway in Australian history, had closed. This brought an end to almost 100 years of rail operations in the area, but a dedicated group of volunteers are fighting to bring the line back. Hi, I'm Tasmanian, and this is the Ida Bay Railway story. Many early timber tramways have been built around the Loon River district, around 100 kilometres south of Hobart Town. This area, a part of the Esperance municipality, was located on the shores of Southport along with many other settlements. The area had grown into a major producer of timber, and amongst many others, a tramway was built from a jetty on the Loon River deep into the local forests. Here, the Huon Timber Company's Loon River Mill was set up. By the end of the First World War, this had closed. In the uncertain days that followed, a beacon of hope shone through. The electrolyte zinc company's Risdon Works needed high-quality limestone as a flux and smelting process of zinc, and they built a major carbide plant on the Northwest Bay near Margate. They discovered large deposits of limestone in the area surrounding the abandoned tramway, bought the rights to the line, and opened a quarry inland from Loon River. They reopened the tramway with steel rails and a small rail tractor. The limestone was transferred at the Loon River Wharf for shipping to Electrona and Risdon. In 1922, the EZ Company acquired the assets of the defunct Sandfly Colliery near Margate, including its tramway engine and rails. Construction of a new steel-railed tramway from the Loon River limestone mines through to a new port on Ida Bay, several kilometres to the south of the existing pier, began. By May 1922, the 3-mile 50-chain tramway was almost completed. In 1923, the Tasmanian government purchased the Electrona plant and the Ida Bay operations, and the tramway was completed. It operated under government hands until 1934, when it was sold to the Commonwealth Carbide Company. Another locomotive, the Dunkley Brothers Puppy, which had been previously used on the North Mount Farrell Tramway and several other trams in the Zeehan area, was purchased and used on the line in the short term until being replaced with a new Hunslet locomotive in 1937. Here is that locomotive at Steamfest 2025. In 1936, the Ida Bay Pier was extended and a new loader fitted to increase capacity of the tramway. A momentous occasion during the 1940s was the extension of the tramway to a new terminus, wharf and loading facility at Deep Hole Bay, 4 miles from Ida Bay. This helped alleviate shipping problems with navigating the treacherous and shallow Southport Narrows. Modernisation works commenced at the same time, with gravity loading bins being introduced to reduce manual loading. At Deep Hole, the loaded bins were hauled off the wagons and placed directly onto vessels from the pier siding. In 1948, the Sandfly Krause locomotive reached the end of its era on the Ida Bay Railway and was taken out of service when the first Malcolm Moore diesel engines arrived. The locomotive was rescued by the Second River Tramway Preservation Group and ran on their line in Caroola near Lilydale. It revisited the Ida Bay line several times later and is now in operation at Sheffield on the Redwater Creek Railway. At the same time, the final steam locomotive arrived on the Ida Bay Tramway. This was a Krause locomotive from the final eras of the Mount La Tramway's 2-foot gauge network in Queenstown. This was too heavy for the rails at Ida Bay and was withdrawn and sent to the North Mount Farrell Tramway in Tulla. 5 former Army Ford V8 Malcolm Moore diesel locomotives were ordered between 1948 and 1951 and became the sole operators of the line as the Hunslet locomotive ceased working in 1952. Sadly, in 1975, roads to the quarry were upgraded and trucks started hauling all ore from the Loon River limestone quarries. This resulted in the closure of the railway. However, in 1977, the government purchased the line for $81,000 and it was given to the first of many heritage operators on the line. Many private contractors ran heritage services over the line, struggling to make a profit. Special visits from many groups, including the running of the Sandfly Cross locomotive on the line several times, helped the various owners stay afloat. This culminated in 2003 when safety concerns led to a 2-year closure of the railway. Normally around 5 trains ran a day on the line on operating days. Following the 2005 startup, Meg Thornton, a local, took over ownership of the line and paid over $300,000 to get it started up again. However, in 2018, a derailment led to the closure of the railway and seizing of all assets by the Parks and Wildlife Department. A new organisation was formed as a volunteer-run group to attempt to resurrect the railway. They are still trying to gain approval to run trains on the first section of line between the Ida Bay station and the Ida Bay Cemetery, with future extension back out to Deep Hole as of 2025. This brings me up to date with the history of the Ida Bay Railway. I would love it if this line could reopen soon, and I believe that it is one of the few lines I will cover in this series that have a good chance of being reopened due to the high tourist value of the southernmost railway in Australia. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you next time on Tasmanian.